I'm not really one to make a lot of New Year's resolutions, and honestly, I feel like less and less people make them in general. But this year, I found that I just naturally had a lot of things that I wanted to start fresh this year. So I actually have kind of a lot of New Year's resolutions, and I want to share them with you. Hi.
Okay.
Thank you. So, my first resolution, if you watched my recent video, which I can have linked, but one of my resolutions is that I am trying to fulfill a bucket list item that I have to read 500 books, like to own like a personal library, which is about 500 books before I'm 30, and to have read all of those books that I own. In order to do that, I still need to purchase part of and read all of about 300 books. So, one goal I have this year is to read 100 books, and these are some of the books I'm working on right now. I think I have, oh no, yeah, all 5 are right here. So, these are the books I'm reading right now. And by the way, if you'd like to stay up to date on how I'm doing with that goal, I plan on posting monthly reading updates. So you can see what I've read that month and if I'm on track still. Do you want to sit with me?
Yeah. So,
This year, one of my resolutions is more of like a month to month thing. I am planning on doing kind of like no spend months, or like, well, at the very least, we're gonna not eat out as much. So like January, I'm doing a no eating out month at all and no extra spending. So I'm not going to the thrift store. I'm not buying things from Amazon. Obviously we'll buy groceries and stuff. And then from here on out, I want to kind of set a limit and try to stick to it. So like February is Valentine's Day and my birthday. So we'll most likely go out to eat a couple times. Plus we take a trip with our teenagers. And so we have to eat out. That's just part of it. So in the month of February, we'll set a limit. And then in March, maybe we'll do no eating out again, just depending on what we kind of set. I mean, I have a few goals, and then this is like one of the ways that I am meeting a couple of those. So one of the things is that, you know, I would just like to lose some weight. Last year, when I started going on my anti-inflammatory diet for my autoimmune disease, I lost like 10 pounds because, you know, I was trying to cut out sugar, caffeine, fried foods, gluten, dairy, like try to eat way more whole foods. And like as the years gone on, I got more and more away from that. And part of that is eating out. Eating out makes it incredibly difficult. And even when I'm choosing better options at a restaurant, it's still just, it's not as good as what we make at home because we make everything from scratch. We eat so few processed foods at home. So we have actually started meal prepping, so that we never are kind of in those situations where we're like, oh, we don't have leftovers and we don't have bread, so I guess we'll just order something. Or, well, we're going to be out during lunch today, so I guess we'll just get food while we're out. We're meal prepping things, chicken wraps, breakfast burritos, and a couple different types of soup. So we will need a microwave, but when we're out and about, we pretty much, you know, we usually end up at my parents' house, and so we can heat stuff up at their house. So that works out fine for us, but that's one of the things that we're doing. And the other goal is just to spend less money in general. Hence the like no extra spending. My husband and I are saving up to move to a different house. We are saving up to adopt a child, and after we adopt, we would, you know, like to have more children. So we just kind of want to be in a financially better situation Not to mention, I'm still trying to pay off my student loans and things, and we would like to be debt free this year if possible. So we're trying very hard to kind of cut any additional expenses. So this next resolution is something I've already touched on, which is that we want to move this year. I guess moving itself is the goal, like that's the resolution, but there's a lot of things that I want to do to kind of be prepared for that. And again, it kind of goes hand in hand with the adoption stuff that there's some reasons why it would be too difficult for us to move once, like before the adoption takes place. So I just kind of am always in a state of being like 24 hours away from baby ready. And so between that and then shortly after baby comes, I really would like to move pretty quickly. So one thing that I'm doing to kind of help prepare for all of that is just to have or at least to keep, I guess I have a rigorous cleaning schedule. I just don't always keep it. So my resolution is to kind of keep a more rigorous cleaning schedule, to kind of regularly go through things and declutter. So it's just like less to move overall, and I'm not like moving things in pieces, and I can throw away parts like, you know, little fabric scraps or little thread, like the things that hold the thread. I've been able to get rid of some of those, and yeah, it's small things, but over time it can make, you know, a big difference. So yeah, just like cleaning, decluttering, and that kind of stuff. And so hand in hand with that, this isn't really a resolution per se, it's just kind of a consequence of having the resolution I'm having, which is just that you know, last year we did play dates. I would do usually at least one play date every week, and sometimes I would do up to 4 or 5 play dates a week. And it was a lot, and of course I enjoy it. You know, Rosie doesn't have any siblings, so it's nice for her to have friends to play with and, you know, learn those like turn taking skills and sharing and stuff like that. And then it's also good for me to get together with my friends, but it was taking a lot of time away from just being able to be home and you know, spending a lot of gas money, or we would go out and do things together. We didn't always meet at each other's houses. Sometimes we'd meet at a restaurant, like just to change it up a little bit. Not every time, but, and you know, that's what really worked for me last year. That's what we really needed. But this year, hopefully we'll get a child soon, and, you know, those play dates will, for one, they'll be harder, but for two, they'll just not be as necessary, at least for the time being. But also Rosie's 4 now, and I really want to kind of take our preschooling up a notch. So I've shared what we do for preschool tons of times, and right now it just consists of one day for about 20 to 30 minutes. We do like a little circle time where we go over letters and numbers and colors and the date and the scripture, and we just, you know, things, it changes a little bit every time. But now I want to start having her do like some workbooks and start introducing like I can read books. I want to kind of do something every day for just like 20 to 30 minutes. And then some days we'll have a bit bulkier time spans. Like, you know, she goes to a Thursday school program at our church, and that's 2 hours. Just start to get a structure for her. So that way when, you know, the fall comes, we can take it up another notch and do like a regular preschool type of schedule and just kind of ease her way into it. And then the next year we'll be taking it up another notch for kindergarten. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and that's what's working for us, but not if we're doing play dates every day. Again, that's just the season of life we're in. I guess it's not so much of a resolution. It's just, you know, it's just what's gonna have to happen. But hopefully that will, you know, even help us meet our kind of goals to be ready to move and be ready for baby soon, because I'll be actually home to take care of the home, because that's the hardest thing about keeping a clean home, keeping it tidy and decluttered. if you're not here to keep it tidy and clean it and declutter it, then it just gets crazy. And you might be thinking, oh, well, if you're never home, then it can't get that bad. But really what happens is like we're out and about all day. Like maybe we go to the thrift store, maybe I go to my mom's house and she gives me stuff, or like, you know, even as far as Christmas that has just passed, we come home and we just kind of like dump our stuff, and then we go about our, you know, we go to bed and we wake up the next morning and we're like, okay, well, we still have dishes to do, we still have laundry to do, we still have this and that. And then those things don't really get put away. And then it's like before we even have a chance to do any of that, we're out the door again. So I do finally have most of the Christmas stuff put away, but it's just like that lifestyle, it just kind of lends to a lot of like dumping and like going on to the next thing. And so hopefully being home a little bit more, at least for the first couple of months, will really help with this resolution. Probably my most meaningful resolution that I'm setting for myself this year is more meaningful time spent with my family. So especially my husband and my daughter. I know a lot of the time that I spend with my husband is just us vegging out at the end of the day and, you know, watching movies and stuff. And I really would prefer for us to have more meaningful moments throughout the day. And then when we do sit down together, I want us to have time to like study the Bible together or play games or do something that's going to actually connect us together. And then as far as my daughter, I feel like I've gotten away from, I used to be very good about having very meaningful interactions with her, and recently I've been allowing her to watch more and more TV. Now that she's 4, I'm like, oh, it's okay if she watches TV, and I've kind of been using that as like a babysitter instead of trying to include her in what I'm actually doing, which she loves being included, but there's a few things that I try to justify myself, like, oh, she doesn't, you know, like this, or this is a big mess, or whatever, and I try to justify not including her into things sometimes, and so I definitely want to get back to doing that, and also to, like, take opportunities throughout the day to just, like, play with her very intentionally. This clip you're seeing is one time when I had just finished laundry and I walked out and she was playing, and I was like, you know, normally I would just pass over this and go do my next task, but I sat down and I played with her for like 20 or 30 minutes, and it was a lot of fun, and I know it meant a lot to her. And, you know, it was all because I set this resolution, and actually this wasn't even the only time. There's a lot of times this day that I played with her, and I also just want to find times to like be like kind of naturally like taking these natural moments to teach life lessons or to teach her about something about the Bible or something about God. Sometimes I struggle to do kind of that like free-flowing teaching, and I tend to prefer more structure. So it's definitely another resolution of mine. I'm gonna put Pascal in there too. Yeah. All right, it is actually much later than when I filmed the majority of this video earlier. We are wrapping up the day, so I just have one more New Year's resolution that I want to share with you guys, and that is that I want this year to be a year of finishing projects. So for instance, and I don't even mean big projects, where did I just put that? For instance, I went through a Sudoku phase where I was very obsessed with Sudoku. I still really love it, but there was a time when I was very obsessed. And so I have a bunch, this is just 2, but I have a bunch of like Sudoku and other puzzle books that I would like to just go through and completely fill out. Like I've had this one for probably, I don't know, probably 10 years. I'm not sure. And look, I started 2 and the rest are all blank. So I have already been starting, my other one that I've been working on is upstairs, but just things like that. I want to finish the book so I can recycle it, get it out of my house. I have a lot of like sewing projects. This is all my scrap fabric that I turn into various things, but mostly I make just little jar covers, like little mason jar covers for things that we sell at our bakery. So I just would like to kind of go through, and a lot of these things that I'm like, I just have this little scrap of fabric. I'm not going to be able to do much with it. So I may as well just like make whatever, like it's on its last leg. Let's finish it off so that this scrap piece is, and maybe not out of my house, but it's at least in its final form, if that makes sense. And I know earlier I was talking about like having no spend months, and this is one of the reasons I would like to do a no spend month, is because I don't want to bring more stuff into my home. So there's a few things that I've been like, ooh, that would make my life easier. Like if I had this or if I had that. And especially like bigger things. And the smaller things, like books and stuff, I'm still buying books here and there. Books are kind of my main thing. Well, because if you watched the last video, I have to buy like 250 books in the next couple of years. So obviously I still have to buy books. But like big things, like I was thinking of getting like this organizer thing for a diaper changing station. And, I was like, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for after we move. And it's the same idea. Like, I don't want to move a bunch of half-finished projects, especially, can you imagine if I have to move twice? Like if we have to move to a temporary living situation before we can move to like our home. Like I'm talking about moving for like a month or two and then moving into the home. Like there's things I'm going to have to put on a truck 2 times and take off of a truck 2 times and pack into boxes meticulously. And so, I'm going to declutter. And one way that I'm like decluttering is finishing projects. So the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head right now are like these puzzle books and the fabric scraps. Although like, Rosie has coloring books that I'm like, instead of taking a different coloring book to church each time, we need to just take one coloring book, get it all colored, and then move on to the next one. So there's a few different things like that just like things, I just want to finish things this year. I want this year to be a year where we finish things, okay? We're not leaving a bunch of things not started or undone. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I appreciate all of the support. I'm excited to start this new year with you guys, and I pray that whatever, if you do New Year's resolutions or not, that whatever is coming for you in 2025 is beneficial to you and your relationship with the Lord. I just pray for all of the best blessings in 2025. And if not, I pray that we just handle everything with as much grace and mercy as possible. So I do hope you will join me in making this year as productive and as positive as we can possibly make it. And hopefully you guys will be able to stick with me and check up on me as far as later this year, hopefully posting those book updates as well as updates on our adoption situation, our bakery, moving, just I'm praying that all of that happens this year and that things will go kind of how I have planned. And I know they never go perfect, but just hopefully stay tuned for those kinds of videos that will be coming out later this year. I will see you in one of those.
Hi.
I know. Thank you. You're being so good and patient. Can I have one more minute, please? And then you can get in the camera too?
Yeah.
Thank you.